Hello, fabulous superstar Scorpio. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of June 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. And a limited number of consultations are available with me or with Andy of Wise Ass Astrology over the course of this summer. New dates have just been released of availability. You can learn a lot more and book your reading now. Links are below. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky. And the biggest move really is Jupiter. On the 9th of the month, Jupiter changes signs, moving into fellow water sign Cancer. Now, simply having any planet move into a fellow water sign means its energies become easier to access, especially their higher end. It starts to feel as if you're able to tap into it that much more readily as a blessing. Jupiter itself has to do with blessings. It makes bigger and brings more whenever it is that it enters a brand new part of the sky and throughout its time there. Now, this is a transit that's going to take us forward just a little bit over an exact year from the time that it begins. So we have that there, and that's wonderful. However, it starts at first in a way that doesn't necessarily make us aware just how big the potential is, at least not just yet. And I say that because as soon as Jupiter changes signs, Jupiter will begin a series of alignments that bring with it tension, disappointment, and maybe putting in a lot of effort for something that doesn't feel like it's going to pan out in any kind of meaningful way. It is this energy now that can speak really profoundly to trying something and trying really hard, but then ultimately being disillusioned if we should get it. Now, when a Jupiter transit begins, what can often happen is that Jupiter will first allow closures to happen. And it's a part of creating space so that more can actually have the space to enter. But in the case of what's happening this month, yeah, there very well might be those closures, but it seems like we might feel disappointed of them. But we may need just that amount of a breather before we start to recognize the opportunity that is being made more apparent to us in the process. And so Jupiter is moving into a part of the sky for you that has to do with long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters. All of these are going to have big blessings in the year plus ahead. But this part of the sky more personally has to do with the kind of beliefs that help you to make sense of the world, that guide your life. Now, having said all of that, consider this as well. As Jupiter changes signs on the 9th, will, over the course of the 15th and the 19th, will square Saturn and then square Neptune, respectively. And it is these connections, one after the other, that speak to how it is that we might find ourselves first feeling limited, feeling restricted, feeling like we're trying really hard for a breakthrough and it's not coming together, or we feel like we can't get what we want. That's the Saturn square. And Neptune squares are about disappointment, disillusionment, feeling like we wish that had worked out. Now, if you are involved in a matter, specifically with what I just mentioned, right? Maybe you're involved in a legal matter, you're in an institute of higher learning, you're trying to gain traction there on an immigration or citizenship matter. Well, yeah, some of these energies can feel difficult to navigate. And it's furthered by the fact that as we move forward, it is going to be on the 22nd of the month that the Sun will square Saturn. On the 23rd, the Sun will square Neptune. And on the 24th, the Sun will meet Jupiter in the sky. And then on the 25th, we have a new moon with the Sun, Jupiter, and the new moon together. Throughout this time, that Sun-Jupiter energy together represents the luckiest day of the year. And then the new moon thrown in makes it that much more fortunate in and of itself, the luckiest new moon of the year. But all of that, it almost like washes away. It's almost negated almost entirely by the fact that those squares of Saturn and Neptune are involved. So that's a lot of tech talk, I know, but all of that is to say As much as there might be hope, and we'd love to see these lovely developments with the luckiest day of the year, a lot of that is likely to be the case that we don't recognize what's happening is actually lucky. We don't realize that what's taking place is actually a blessing or is actually to our benefit. We might be so caught up in what we wanted not happening or our own disappointment, our own disillusionment, that we're not appreciating the fact that now, in many ways, we're being granted a fresh start and that we can be open to the possibilities and the prospects that much more readily. At least by the time we get to the new moon, that new moon and the sun and Jupiter are going to be speaking in harmony with Mars. I love this energy, I have to say. It is Mars that is in a friendship part of the sky at this point, speaking in harmony with this new moon energy. Yeah, we still got Saturn squaring, we still got Neptune squaring, but that Mars energy says empowerment, excitement. And it is Mars in that friendship part of the sky that says it is friendships. It is by participating in groups. It is in gathering with others that your enthusiasm is restored in some way, that you're reminded of the power that you actually do have, the possibilities that actually exist for you there. As you navigate this time, ultimately, there's a sense of openness that could be available to you. And that's part of the joy now. And part of the joy is also the deeper appreciation that where it is that you are to be in the world, literally or figuratively, it is for you. And where it is that is not for you to be, literally or figuratively, no matter what you do, you won't be there. And so then it comes down to faith. It comes down to trust. Are you going to trust the universe, especially at a time like this? Because in the trusting, you might find yourself opening up to that many more options and opportunities as well. And so some real world examples, well, it just might be that you're involved in a legal matter and it doesn't go as you'd hoped. It doesn't go as planned. It feels as if you had this hope and this wish and this expectation that things would go your way. And they might not only just be fair, but actually feel disappointing with the outcomes as a possibility, or just might be that you can't move forward with it. It might be that as part of moving towards exploring more of the world, there are practical matters that need to be addressed that are limiting your options in some way. So these are some possible scenarios that might find you now. But for all that, there's also a real sense of progress and momentum that can happen within you. And know that this is just the beginning of this larger transit. The more you hold on, the harder it is for that space to be created energetically and literally for all that's good, all the promise to come rushing in. Now, backing up a little bit, let's talk about this month's full moon. And the full moon takes place on the 11th of the month. And this full moon takes place in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn, money you spend. Self-love and self-esteem are covered here as well. And this is actually a really positive and hopeful full moon. It is speaking in supreme harmony with Mars. I love this energy for us, I have to say, but for you in particular, this can represent a chance at greater prosperity, or just feeling really excited and empowered about the prospects of moving in a direction that feels more abundant to you. Lots of creative ideas and a sense of motivation can feel very strong at this time. It is Mars that is moving through the top of your sky, having to do with career and life purpose. So go big or go home. Well, yeah, if you go big, you go for the goal, you go for what you really want in a larger sense, you align with purpose. That is when the financial promises and prospects become that much more likely. That is when you're able to recognize the abundance available to you that much more readily, especially at a time like this. It could be that you're considering making a purchase that allows you to then connect with what you think is going to help you to achieve your goals. That's a possibility here. Now, also, this might show up more in terms of healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem, and under the light of this full moon, you're probably feeling really strong in that regards at this time as well. Where it comes to matters of love, that is the very good news. It is on the 6th of the month that Venus moves into your opposite sign. And this is the part of the sky that has to do with partnerships, including romantic partnerships. And it can make it that much easier to connect with others, that much sweeter to be in partnership, especially at a time like this. This is a sense of sweetness and light in all of your romantic interactions and seeing long-term potential. This is especially true if it is that you're open to meeting someone new, because the people you attract now can hold real long-term potential for you. And it seems like you're attracting people who are that much more available to wanting to pursue meaningful partnership going forward from here. Now, regardless of what does or doesn't happen with a specific person, there is this sense of possibility now that feels as if it opens your heart that much more. For those of you just starting to date someone, is this moving towards partnership or not? That is going to be an important question, a guiding question, if you will, at this time. Where a connection is moving towards something more meaningful, it will be that much more evident, and it'll feel almost like it has a flow to move towards partnership. But if that isn't the case, well, you might end up connecting with someone new where that potential absolutely is there. And for those of you in an established bond, Venus in your opposite sign is wonderful. No matter what might have been happening in your bond, it is Venus in your opposite sign that helps you to feel like your partner is that much sweeter and lighter, more amiable to get along with. And there's a easier sense of being able to be connected and to share genuine joy with each other. And that can bring that much more faith, even if you are one of that small percent out there that might have had challenges in your relationship. It's now that you're able to see it, you recognize it, but you're also able to nurture exactly what you have right now and work towards building something that feels like it can get even better. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love the energy of, well, I'm going to say that very abundant full moon energy for you on the 11th. I know that Jupiter changing signs and moving into fellow water sign Cancer is actually really nice. It's really good for you. But the fact that, at least at the beginning of the transit, it starts with this measure of tension and acceptance of what isn't ideal and maybe even disappointment for some, you might not realize how whatever's happening now is actually really good. As soon as Jupiter changes signs, ultimately it's putting you on a pathway towards greater abundance. It's going to be a journey, 13 months ahead. And I do think you'll have a bit of a head start, actually, because we do have that full moon happening in a part of the sky that has to do with money you earn and money that you spend. That is a type of abundance. But where it is that Jupiter moves into, that is a part of the sky that is expansive. It's about experiences and opening you up to the world that much more, seeing that many more possibilities and approaching your life with a greater sense of optimism and ease. Now, that is a type of prosperity that you can cherish, and it's only going to magnify more and more in the months ahead. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month. We choose your membership rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.